Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are pleased to have in the studio with us today friends from the Elementary Institute of Science celebrating their 61st year, if I got the math right. 1964 is when they started. We're chatting with Baltazar Perez. He is the Director of Innovation and Partnerships. How are you doing?
Just fine. Thank you very much for having me here, Drew.
Of course. And you're relatively new to the Institute, correct?
Yes, I am. Only 2 years.
2 years. What brought you to this wonderful organization?
It is a wonderful organization, and it is a bit of an interesting story. I've been working with students in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and particularly in robotics, for about 15 years now. And what got me there was my two kids who were interested in robotics, and all of a sudden they said, we like this, Dad. And I said, let's do it. So fast forward, we started a company and did really well. And the company started running without me. It just didn't need me anymore,
right?
Which was the plan all along, right?
Of course.
And it's still doing well. And once I got to that point, I said, I think I might be able to do something else. And I knew about the Elementary Institute of Science. And I said, if anything was going to get me out of the comfort zone of being at the home office, I said, it would be EIS. I said, that organization just looks great. And I had visited them before. And this is where the funny part comes in. So I knew this wonderful person. Her name is Sarah Twackley Cooper. And I knew that she knew about the Elementary Institute of Science. And I actually called her up and I said, Sarah, you think this place, EIS, would be a great place as good as it looks from the outside and to work with? And she said, it would be an awesome place. And I said, oh man, I hope that someday there's an opportunity for me. Sure enough, an opportunity comes along. I go back to Sarah and I asked her about it. And she said, go for it. And I did. And I got a position at the Elementary Institute of Science working with students. And a year and a half later, I am interviewing Sarah for the position of the executive director. And now we're both working together.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that a wonderful story?
The world is small. So, you work mainly with elementary students, or is it TK through high school?
It is second grade through high school. So that's one of the things about the Elementary Institute of Science, that the elementary throws people off as to exactly what we do. But we do have from second grade all the way through high school programs.
Yeah, that's great. And you work with all the schools in the county, pretty much? Or as many as you can?
As many as we can, but we do concentrate. We're in southeastern San Diego.
Okay.
And so we do concentrate on the schools that are in that specific area.
Logan Heights area and...
exactly. In the Lincoln High School area.
The Lincoln cluster, right.
Exactly. So that's our main focus, but we do have students from all over the county that come and experience some of our programs.
Right. Do you work with any of the universities or community colleges as well?
We work very closely, especially with UCSD, but UCSD has CSU, USD, with all of those, yes. And even some community colleges as well.
Yeah, which I think is terrific. So it's the question we always ask folks is, how did you get interested in science? Were you out there playing with your Legos or whatever, or you were erecting different things when you were a kid? And have you always been interested in science? Or no, to be honest with you, Drew, I couldn't stand it, and I started getting involved in high school. Or maybe not.
So I'm going to shift a little bit from science to technology.
Please.
I'm actually more of a technology person, being that I'm an electronics engineer.
Okay.
From that point of view. So I got to start in robotics, as I mentioned prior to that. But my two kids, who one of them studied physics. And so my love for science came from her side more than anything else, and how fantastic science is. and how science is all around you and everything that you do, even in the technology that I'm in love with. And so now working at the Elementary Institute of Science with these wonderful people that work there, they're very passionate about science and technology. It just becomes overwhelming as to how much there is to learn and how much fun it actually is. So my love for science has just multiplied as I've been at the Elementary Institute of Science.
Well, and you know this, I'm preaching to the congregation here, in the key, you probably heard this 475,000 times. Like any subject area, whether it's science, whether it's math, whether it's history, it's those instructors, those teachers who find the interesting connecting part of it. And you're spot on. When the students realize you can't breathe more than 2 seconds in a day and not know that science has impacted what you're doing, and you pick anything you can do. And when you bring that to life, I'm sure the students just light up.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, if we go back a little bit of how EIS got its beginnings, back in 1964 when Mr. Tom Watts started EIS, and one of his passions for not only science is just to see the students just glow with anticipation of what they're going to be doing in a hands-on lab. And that's one of the things that drives us, that we want to make sure that what we do at EIS, it just excites the students that come through the doors. That they don't feel they're just coming into the regular classroom. It is an extremely fun place to be at. And then as a side thing, you're learning science.
Well, and it's something that is going to be with them for their whole lives, no matter which aspect they take, whatever road they take in that area. So you've been involved in technology, of course, and robotics. Certainly a big part of what is going on in science these days. As we asked our good friends in the interview before from Greater Than Tech, how are you bringing AI into all this?
Yeah, so AI is the top subject, and there's
Right.
there's a few things that I'm doing, and I love ever since I discovered what AI was doing a few years ago, and that again came from my kids who said, "Hey, Dad, have you seen what this ChatGPT thing does?" And at first I blew it off, thinking it's Alexa or something.
Right.
And then I was so surprised as to what was happening there and the changes that were about to happen. And so from that point on, I said, I need to learn more. I need to keep up with this thing because this is changing extremely fast. And so there's a couple of things that we're doing with AI. We started on AI clubs, also that the students that meet for AI and they come over to the Elementary Institute of Science. But more than that, we partnered with an organization called AI EDU, Artificial Intelligence in Education. And with them, because that's one of the person that heads the San Diego area, he's actually an alumni of some of our programs, or actually he used to teach at EIS.
Nice.
And so they're a very well-known, very well-funded organization. And with them and the Booz Allen Hamilton also, we partnered also to start working with San Diego Unified on working on how to integrate artificial intelligence, not only with the students using it, but also with the teachers and administration. And so that's become quite a big project that we're right in the midst of that. And it's proven to be quite challenging, obviously, for San Diego Unified, but it's something that you just can't ignore. You have to be at the forefront and right on top of it.
Right. And sure, then when you add parents into the mix, so they actually feel they're part of their students' learning, right? And so I always got a kick out of looking at my daughter. She's now a teacher in the Chaparral Elementary School in the Poway School District, but trying to help her on a subject that I stunk in when I was in school, and algebra and geometry. I'm great at math in terms of stats and sports and all that business. Give me something that's abstract and I can't even figure it out.
Yes.
But that being said, it's all around you. There's no question about that. And I think one of the things with AI is as we're, maybe like a computer, you use maybe 1% of the computer when you do it. AI, I imagine we're just scratching the surface, are we not?
It's exactly right. But it's one of those things that you just can't wait until
That's right.
It's fully implementable, because it's there now. And when we just look at AI in education by itself, there's a lot of turmoil there, because students, of course, they jumped on top of it, but teachers kind of were left behind, where now they're starting to catch up, and they're trying to keep up more than anything else with what the students are doing and making sure that it's used properly. And so there's, like I said, there's no ignoring it, but just in the education sector, they have to get their hands around it, their minds around it rather quickly.
You are so spot on. We're chatting with Baltazar Perez. He's the Director of Innovation and Partnerships for the Elementary Institute of Science. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. A history of 6 decades doing great things. People in San Diego County, from food insecurity to literacy to art and engineering and science. You've put everything in. Mission Fed's involved in that aspect. I'm so glad you brought that up about the teachers and the training and all this. And I was honored to work for San Diego Unified at the central office a billion years ago. But what was interesting, there was a concept at the time. It sort of got a bad reputation called CAI, and it's called Computer Assisted Instruction. And everyone think, throw the computer out and let's not train the teachers on how to use it, and the kids will start figuring it out, and they'll be geniuses. And of course, that went by the way of the dodo bird. And you're absolutely right on. Staff development, and especially with the emerging technologies and concepts, AI absolutely should be game one.
Exactly. Yeah. And you see it, in myself, in talking to the teachers, I'll speak with the physics teacher, with the science teacher, and the math teacher, and the history teacher, and the language arts teacher, and they can all use it, but they're using it a different way. And so that's a lot to tackle, and how to get everybody to do what they wanted to do. And then, of course, there's the side of what the students are doing, how to keep track of that. Is the student really doing their work, or is it all being done by AI? And so it's quite the challenge, but you have to be able to embrace it and do the best that you can, so that you can understand and help the students. And in all essence, what AI is actually, if you use it properly, it will make the teacher's job not easier, but a lot faster. It should leave you with more time to do other things than just planning and thinking about what the next subject is going to be, or just having brand new ideas. And that's what it's great for. And they have to be able to see what a time savings that's going to be for them.
Well, and you hit, gold. We're going to talk about that when we come back from break. Is that anyone who spent any time with teachers, when they close that door for 182 days, whether they're an elementary school teacher or they're a secondary teacher, they want time. And you free up time for them, then you're going to be, on a pedestal for them. We're going to chat more with Baltazar Perez. He's the Director of Innovation and Partnerships for the Elementary Institute of Science. Let's chat about how critical it is to make sure that there's funding for nonprofits, especially in science, so forth. The critical nature of STEM, making sure we are hitting a diverse audience, hitting those populations that may not have had the opportunities to get involved in this very wonderful and fruitful and high-paying field. When we return after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, chatting with Baltazar Perez, Director of Innovation and Partnerships for the Elementary Institute of Science. We were just chatting about how important it is, and I'll equate it to something that when I was working for the schools, and it seems like, God, how could they not mesh this together when there was a big emphasis, and just going to show you how old I am, and to focus on writing across the curriculum. Of course, that should be of course, you should have been doing this since you first started school when people were walking upright. But it was a relatively new concept. It's that don't just teach writing and language arts. You need to teach it in science and math and all that. Well, science should be taught in every single content area. Are you kidding me? How do you not teach science when you're studying, ancient civilization or whatever? Or you're reading novels when they're full of stories about science, and go down the list. When we integrate it, then that's sort of half the battle, is it not?
It is. And I think part of getting especially the younger students to understand that science is fun. Science is everywhere. Science, you can't avoid it. You can't live without it.
Right.
And then just getting everything that we do at the Elementary Institute of Science is hands-on. It's just seeing the science, seeing how it works, seeing how fun it is, and getting the students excited about it so that they want to learn more. They want to ask questions. They can make mistakes so they can learn even from their mistakes. And it's as you mentioned, it's everywhere. And getting the students to just, realize that when they light up and see, oh my God, yeah, it is everywhere. It's everywhere I see, even the things that I can't see when we break out the microscopes. That's just something that, we see the excitement in them when they start realizing, yeah, it's true, it's everywhere.
Right. Obviously there's been a lot, done, certainly, talking about climate change. And if people don't believe climate change is a real thing, then they should be shipped off to a different universe. Yes. I can say that unequivocally in that area. But do you chat a lot about that aspect of it, climate change? Obviously, I have to just look at the fires that we've had in especially our state, or some of the catastrophic hurricanes that have been going on and so forth.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think you've mentioned, in some of your previous podcasts, the things that are SDG&E is actually doing
yes,
as
correct.
well. And so we have great partnerships with SDG&E. SDG&E also, they sponsor some of our programs. And we can get into some of those programs, of course, but they're awesome. And it's incredible what they're doing out there. And it's incredible what, I think most people, just think of SDG&E as the monthly bill that comes along, right? And complain about that. But if we could peek into the amazing things that they're doing, we have a program that's called Girls Take Flight, which is a drone program. They sponsor that specific program. But these girls get to go and see firsthand their helicopters, all their equipment that they're using, their technology that they're using, their centers where they monitor everything that's happening. They have partnerships, and I know with UCSD monitoring some of these fires as well. All of that comes into play in climate change, in what we need to do, what has to be done, and who's doing some of that work. SDG, like I said, is doing as other organizations, but they're at the forefront of that, especially here in San Diego, where, as we've seen, there's quite a few areas that are prompt for fires.
Yeah, and you're so spot on that, and they've literally been a leader in supporting education efforts. I'm going to talk a little bit about the bills that you mentioned. I wish you get a kick out of this. That if you look at it, obviously we live in an area that's relatively nice in terms of we don't have $7,000 bills in the winter because we're not 4 degrees below zero and we're not 120 degrees for the most part, right? Okay. So our bills as a whole are relatively affordable. If you think ours are high, go live in Minnesota, or go live in Phoenix or whatever the case may be. But to your point, it's the partnerships. SDG&E has got a great partnership with the Elementary Institute of Science. I imagine you must just love the fact that we are a strong biocom region. Talk about how you work with some of those folks.
Yeah. So we have great partnerships. One of the organizations, such as Vertex Pharmaceuticals, for example, they're a wonderful community partner, and they sponsor a lot of our programs. And there's other ones, Illumina is one of the big ones. I mean, we work with the Salk Institute, for example. They were one of the founders of EIS back in the 60s. You could foresee. Mr. Salk was actually there, with the grand opening and talking about what we could do. And he saw what science, how important it was, and making sure that the students would, as young as the second graders that we're working with, start learning about how the importance of it, and they're the ones that invested into it. But the Vertex, for example, they've helped us fund a lot of the programs that we have at EIS so that we can make them affordable, or we can make them free for the students that are in southeastern San Diego, which is a low-income community. Yeah. And so the biotech companies, of course, and we've just started a biomed club directly with Lincoln High School. And Lincoln High School students, that's a school that's again, it's a lower income area, so they have their struggles there. And one of the things that we want them to learn is that this is doable. Going to college and becoming studying biomed and being a scientist is not out of reach. But we have to show them the path. We have to show them the way. You have to, work with them as to exactly how that works. And so having those students come into EIS as part of the club, that has been amazing. And if I can, cross over a little bit.
Please.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
Oh, yeah. Cross over into a little bit as to what these students are also doing is that once we have them at EIS, we want to introduce them to things that they have no clue existed. And whether it's engineering, whether it's biotech and biomed, once we have them there, then we can slowly start introducing them to other STEM professionals. And we have this program called the Teen STEAM Cafe. The Teen STEAM Cafe are high school students that come into EIS, and we tell them, you're going to be leaders of the community, and you're going to be finding out about the issues that most people here are concerned about. And so we've had the Teen STEAM Cafe for over 4 years, I believe, or maybe 5 years at EIS. And this year in particular, we're starting to amplify their voices, as we say, by using podcasting. And by using podcasting, we met our friend Charles Perez, and at least I met him. I think people at EIS already knew him. And we hit it off right away, and we started talking about all the wonderful things that we can work together at, and especially doing some of the science of podcasting. And we're going to be working with the Teen STEAM Cafe with those students and getting our own podcasting room sometime soon. So we're going to be looking for sponsors for that.
Yeah, well, listen, very good. SDG&E, you hear that? There's a call out, and all the other wonderful groups that you're working with. I'm a little prejudiced about podcasting since I started this thing 19 years ago when it was called internet radio. Obviously, it's the fastest growing way of communicating these days. And there's something about audio communications that's very different about the visual, certainly, and the written aspect of it. Before I turn it over for you to say, what can our listeners do to support your efforts? What I love about what you're doing at EIS, and of course, these different camps you talked about, and it's something that's very important to the folks at the Economic Development Corporation and some of our chambers. We want those students that live in San Diego to stay in San Diego and be engineers in San Diego. Nothing wrong about going to MIT and all that business, but there's the wealth of knowledge we need to keep here that's just going to grow our economy. Talk about how important that is.
It is. And I'll just a little plug that my daughter graduated from MIT, but she's back in San Diego.
Congratulations to her, and thank you for bringing her back over here.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
Yeah.
And you're right. And one of the things that we do, we try to get these students that are starting out in elementary school, go through middle school programs, go through high school programs with us. And they find not only the love of being part of the community at EIS, that when they do go to university, they go to college and they graduate and they become famous in their new jobs, they remember that. That's what we want them to do. They want it to become an extended part of the community, even if they do go away, that they come back and work with us. And that's what we do. We have quite a few of the students that have graduated that are now professionals. They do come back, and they come back and talk about their experiences now, and especially let the students know that I come from where you came from. I come from the same neighborhood, and you can do this. You can do this, and let me help you. Let me show you the way. And that's what we want to hear. We want the students to just be inspired by the ones that have been part of the community.
And they're going to make a very good wage. They're going to be able to stay in San Diego, which is not the most inexpensive place to live, and everything in between that. Baltazar, what can we do? What can our Spotlight on the Community listeners do to continue to support the great work that's been going on with you folks?
Yes. So as I mentioned, the Elementary Institute of Science is in an area, it's a low-income area of San Diego. And there are many schools there that we try to work with and make everything that we do affordable. A lot of our programs are free, but some of them we do have to charge in order to keep the lights on. And so the more sponsoring that we have from organizations to come in, and I don't want them to just blindly give to EIS. I want them to come and visit, really come and visit and see us and talk to us and be a part of EIS and realize that it's a very, very worthwhile investment in the future, especially of these students that are going to have wonderful ideas, become great employees, perhaps of them, but do wonderful things in this world. And there's a lot of need for that. As I said, we want people to come and visit. Go to eisca.org and visit and see what we are offering from second grade all the way through high school. A lot of wonderful high school programs that I've been in charge of doing. But mostly that all these programs, we love to give them for free. We have to give them for free for all these students, but there's always a cost involved. And sponsors, as I mentioned, we have some great sponsors, but we always welcome more. But get to know us. Get to know us. Get to visit us and come and visit, and we'll give you a wonderful tour and be part of any of the programs that you want to be a part of. We're always looking for speakers, presenters, anybody that's a professional STEM person, and they're more than welcome, especially if you're female. We want them to come inspire all the female students that we have coming through so they can see what they can become. But yeah, more than anything else, get to know us, eisca.org, visit us, and come and be a part of what we do.
That sounds great. Was your daughter part of the Elementary Institute of Science?
She was not, and that's part of the reason that I'm actually at EIS, because as they grew up here in San Diego, and we lived in Chula Vista, just south of San Diego. We actually, we didn't know EIS.
So here's what I'd like to do. I want you to come back on and then bring some of the students that have gone through the program, right? And I want you to bring your daughter on too.
All right.
And talk about, what has she learned about this, and Dad says this. Is this right on the money? Absolutely. So we'd love to have both your daughter and some of the students that have gone through the program.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know they'd love to do it. And I know, some of the programs that you guys were talking about, our students are part of that.
Perfect.
Once they start winning those championships, I'd love to bring them back.
We will look forward to having them on. Baltazar Perez, what a joy chatting with you. He's the Director of Innovation and Partnerships at Elementary Institute of Science. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by the very cool people of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades, doing great things for people living in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.